Hi everyone, my name is Elena. And this Christmas I learned that silence can be louder than revenge. It started with one text. Dad's name flashing across my screen, tone colder than winter itself. Don't bring your kids this year. They're too loud for Christmas. I read it twice. Then a third time. Not because I didn't understand the words, but because I couldn't believe how easy it was for him to write them. My daughter was sitting on the living room rug, surrounded by wrapping paper and glitter, humming to herself while drawing snowmen. When I didn't respond right away, she looked up, eyes wide and innocent. Mommy, Grandpa hates us. The way she said it, soft, hesitant, hit harder than the message itself. I knelt beside her, brushing a curl from her cheek, forcing a smile I didn't feel. No, baby. Grandpa doesn't hate us. Grandpa just forgot who feeds him. Because the truth was simple. Every Christmas table, every catered meal, every bottle of wine, I paid for it all. The same man who couldn't handle the sound of my children laughing had no problem letting my card cover the celebration. So I typed 2 words. Controlled. Sharp enough to slice through hypocrisy. Understood. And that was all. No confrontation. No anger. Just silence, the kind that tightens like a rope around guilty necks. By evening, the family group chat lit up with photos. The perfect Christmas setup. The glowing tree. The long mahogany table lined with silverware and candles. All things I'd bought. Captions like, "Family time is everything. Blessed to be together." I scrolled through every picture, my daughter peeking over my shoulder, confusion in her eyes. "They're using my plates," she said softly, her little brow furrowing. I smiled faintly, tucking the phone away. "Yes, sweetheart. They are." But what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that this year I had left them one last Christmas gift. A surprise they'd never forget. And by tomorrow morning, every single one of them would finally remember who built the table they ate from. That night, after I tucked my daughter into bed, I sat on the couch staring at the glow of the Christmas tree. Its light flickered softly across the ornaments she'd made, uneven, glittery, perfect in the way only a child's hands can create. I should have been sad. But I wasn't. I was done being hurt by people who never felt guilt for causing it. I opened my laptop, logged into my financial dashboard. Every account, every card, every standing payment that had kept their holidays shining for years. Mortgage, utilities, the catering company, even the online subscription that played their favorite Christmas playlist on loop. All of it. They loved to brag about family traditions. They just forgot that I was the one paying for the tradition. My fingers hovered over the keyboard for a moment, then typed slowly, deliberately. Cancel. Cancel. Each click felt like closure wrapped in digital ink. They wanted peace and perfection. I was giving them honesty and consequence. By morning the house would still look the same, but their comfort? It would cost them for the first time. I leaned back on the sofa, letting the silence settle. The kind of silence that doesn't ache anymore, it clarifies. My phone buzzed. A group text came through. "Dad, dinner looks amazing. Couldn't have done it without everyone pitching in. Mom, so thankful for this family." I almost laughed. Pitching in? They hadn't lifted a fork to earn it. I set the phone down, whispering to the empty room. "You'll remember who made this possible when the bill arrives." Then I smiled, not cruelly but with peace. Because the difference between revenge and boundaries is motive. Revenge wants to hurt. Boundaries just refuse to be hurt again. Tomorrow they'd wake up to the surprise. And for once I didn't feel dread. I felt free. The next morning started quietly, snow drifting outside, my daughter's giggles echoing from her room as she showed her stuffed animals their Christmas breakfast. For once there was warmth in the air without a single trace of them. I made coffee, sweet and slow, savoring every sip. Halfway through my first mug my phone began to vibrate. Once, twice, then continuously. The storm had arrived. First a text from Mom. "Elena, did you do something? The caterer is refusing to deliver dessert. They said the payment didn't go through." Then another from Dad. "The heating company says our automatic payment was declined. Is this your doing?" I stared at the screen, watching the panic unfold in real time. Every unpaid bill, every frozen account, every benefit they'd taken for granted suddenly vanished overnight, and they had no one left to call but me. I didn't respond. Instead, I took another sip of coffee and scrolled through the chaos. The messages turned sharp. "This is petty, Elena. You've embarrassed us. Your mother's upset. Fix this now. I smiled faintly. Embarrassed. They always cared more about how they looked than what they did. Meanwhile, my daughter came running in holding her glitter-covered ornament. Mommy, can we hang this one on our tree? Our tree. Not theirs. Ours. Of course we can, baby, I said, lifting her up to hang it high. She grinned proud. It's sparkly, like Grandpa's table. I almost laughed. Yes, I whispered, but this sparkle is ours to keep. While she twirled in her pajamas, my phone buzzed again, this time a voicemail. Dad's voice was different now. Tense. Prat. Controlled rage barely contained. You went too far this time, Elena. You made your point. Now fix it before people find out how ungrateful you really are. Ungrateful. The word landed, but it didn't pierce. As for the first time, I knew exactly who the grateful one was. And it wasn't them. By noon, the calls wouldn't stop. Missed call after missed call. Mom, Dad, even my cousin Claire, who hadn't texted me in a year, suddenly worried about family unity. Their tone was all the same. Panic mixed with pride, too fragile to admit they depended on me for everything. I finally answered. One call. Just to see how far they'd go. Elena. Dad's voice snapped through the line. Are you trying to humiliate us in front of the entire family? I leaned back on the couch, calm. I'm not trying to do anything, Dad. I just stopped paying for your image. You're being dramatic, he shot back. You ruined Christmas. No, I said softly. I just stopped funding it. Mom's voice joined in, trembling, over-rehearsed. Elena, sweetie, your father didn't mean what he said about the kids. You know how he jokes. Jokes don't make children cry, I interrupted, voice low but steady. They ask questions like, does Grandpa hate us? That's not a misunderstanding, Mom. That's a mirror. There was a long pause. Then the voice I'd known all my life, tired, condescending, and utterly incapable of humility. You've changed, Dad muttered. Finally, a truth. Yes, I said. I stopped mistaking fear for respect. He exhaled sharply. We made you who you are. And I laughed, quietly, without bitterness. No, Dad. You made me try to be what you wanted. The woman I became, she was built in spite of you, not because of you. For a moment, silence. Then the inevitable switch, anger to guilt. Family takes care of each other, Mom whispered. I did, I said. For years. You just never noticed until it stopped. Their voices tangled. Panic, pride, control. All trying to hold me where I used to fold. But this time I didn't bend. I ended the call. Not with tears. Not with guilt. Just peace. Because when people lose control of you, they call it betrayal. But it's really just freedom wearing your name. By the next morning, my silence had gone viral in our family group chat. Screenshots, side messages, whispered calls between relatives who once ignored me, now desperate to understand how their golden couple lost power overnight. Dad's business partner even emailed me, awkwardly worded. Your father mentioned some account issues. Can you help him sort things out? I didn't reply. If Dad wanted to talk business, he could start by remembering who funded his last loan. Mom tried a softer angle. A photo message, the dining table half cleared, candles burned low. It wasn't the same without you. Your father feels awful. He didn't feel awful. He felt inconvenienced. There's a difference. I stared at the image, that long table I paid for, those chairs I'd chosen, every piece a reflection of a daughter who wanted to belong. And now, every fork, every plate was a quiet witness to what they'd taken for granted. Ben found me staring at the screen. He placed a cup of coffee beside me. Still checking. I'm not looking for apology, I said, just recognition. He nodded. That might never come. I know, I whispered. But the truth doesn't need an audience. I opened my banking app again, this time not to freeze anything. Just to watch. Payment reversals, overdraft notices, new charges piling up. They were learning, slowly, painfully, that the daughter they dismissed was the one keeping their world together. Mom's final message came that night. This isn't you, Elena. You're not this cold. I typed back carefully. You're right. I used to be warm. Until I learned warmth doesn't mean letting people burn you. I didn't wait for her reply. Instead, I walked to my daughter's room. She was asleep, soft breathing against her pillow, surrounded by paper snowflakes she'd taped to the wall. I sat beside her and whispered, "You'll never beg to be loved in your own family. Outside, snow fell softly, not as a memory but as a beginning. And somewhere across town, a family finally felt what absence really costs. 3 days later, the apology arrived, though calling it that would have been generous. The doorbell rang early morning. Ben was still half asleep when I opened the door and found my parents standing there, bundled in expensive coats that didn't hide the panic underneath. Dad spoke first. "Can we come in?" I crossed my arms. "Depends. Is this about Christmas or the consequences of it?" His jaw tightened. "You proved your point." I tilted my head. "I didn't make a point. I made a decision." Mom stepped forward, her voice trembling. "You've humiliated us. People are asking questions. Your sister's upset. Can't we just move on?" That word, move on, after decades of their silence, their insults, their absence. They wanted me to sweep away years of hurt because it finally made them uncomfortable. "Did you think of my daughter when you called her too loud?" I asked quietly. Mom froze. Her eyes darted toward the floor as if guilt were too heavy to lift. "She's just a child," I continued. "She made you cards. She drew your faces. She cried when she asked why you didn't want her there." Mom's voice cracked. "We didn't mean." "That's the problem," I interrupted. "You never mean to hurt anyone. You just do and expect love to cover the cost." Dad's face hardened. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Families fight." "Families fight," I agreed. "But they also show up. And you only ever showed up when I paid for the gas." He opened his mouth again but no sound came out. Just silence. Thick, suffocating silence. I looked between them, calm but firm. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm done giving people credit for love they never gave." Ben appeared behind me, steady as always. "Maybe it's time to let the space you created stay open," he said softly. I nodded. "It already has." I didn't slam the door. I didn't raise my voice. I just closed it slowly, gentle, final. Inside, my daughter stirred awake. "Mommy, who was that?" I smiled. "Just ghosts, baby. We don't open doors for them anymore." And for the first time I realized, I wasn't breaking the family. I was ending the illusion of one. A week passed. No calls. No messages. Just silence, and somehow that silence was the most honest thing they'd ever given me. The world kept moving. Work deadlines. School mornings. Laughter in our small kitchen. Life didn't pause for absence. It bloomed inside it. Then one afternoon while picking my daughter up from school, my phone buzzed. A message from my sister Claire. "Mom says Dad's furious. He had to use his savings to cover everything. They're calling you heartless." I stared at the text, then typed back. "Heartless. Well, just finally heart protected." I didn't send it. I didn't need to. Some truths don't require delivery. That evening, my daughter was helping Ben wrap small gifts for the homeless shelter drive her class had started. Tiny mittens, crayons, chocolates. Nothing fancy but all chosen with care. She held up a box and asked, "Mommy, do you think other kids will like these?" I smiled, kneeling beside her. "I think they'll love them. You have your grandpa's generosity, but your own heart." He grinned. "Then maybe one day Grandpa will like us again." That one hit. Soft but sharp. I brushed her hair back and whispered, "Sweetheart, we don't need people to like us. We just need people who see us." That night I sat by the window looking out at the snow-covered world. My phone vibrated again. This time a tag notification. Dad's Facebook post. A photo of their dinner table. Same one but emptier. Captioned, "Christmas feels smaller this year." No wine bottles. No laughter. No glow. Just two people surrounded by everything money could buy, and nothing that mattered. I closed the app not with satisfaction but quiet clarity. Because revenge wasn't freezing their accounts. Revenge was them realizing what they'd lost when I stopped apologizing for being enough. And as I watched my daughter asleep beneath her fairy lights, I knew. The table had finally turned. By January the snow had started to melt, but something else had thawed too. The part of me that used to ache for their approval. It was strange how light it felt to no longer carry what was never mine to hold. My daughter and I were baking cookies one evening, our small apartment filled with vanilla and laughter. Ben was humming quietly as he cleaned the counter, pretending not to sneak chocolate chips when she wasn't looking. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Halfway through rolling the dough, my phone buzzed. A new message from Mom. "Your father isn't well. He misses you." Once that sentence would have shattered me. Once I would have dropped everything, raced across town, desperate to fix what I didn't break. But no. I just stood there looking at the words that used to control me. Then my daughter tugged my sleeve. "Mommy, are we still making cookies for Grandpa?" I paused, then smiled softly. "Yes, baby. We'll send some to the nursing home shelter tomorrow, for all the grandpas who don't have family visiting." She beamed. "That's nice." And in that moment I realized, forgiveness doesn't always mean returning. Sometimes it's baking cookies for the lesson, not the person. Later that night I sat by the window again, mug in hand, watching the city lights blink against the snow. The quiet felt different now, not lonely but earned. I opened my notes app and typed a single line, a promise to myself. You don't owe love to those who weaponized it. I hit save, turned off my phone, and watched my daughter fall asleep in the glow of our small, imperfect Christmas tree. The lights flickered like tiny heartbeats, steady, gentle, alive. This was family. Not the one that demanded silence, but the one that thrived in it. Because peace doesn't come when they apologize. Comes when you stop needing them to. I took one last sip of my coffee, whispering to the night. Some kids make you proud. Others just make it without you.